Hey everyone, off the Mike Sports Network. I haven't really done a lot of baseball videos, but there's been some crazy stuff going on in the world of baseball that I need to talk about here. So the Detroit Tigers, on an improbable run, are going to the postseason for the first time in a decade. Man, this is hard to believe because on August 10th, the Detroit Tigers sat at 55-63. They won 31 of their next 42 games. They're going to the playoffs for the first time since 2014. 31-11. 31-11 to finish off the season to go to the playoffs. And what's absolutely wild about this team is that you look at this roster and there's a bunch of really talented former first round picks, a lot of guys who have been around the block, but nobody that really strikes you as a big imposing guy. Like Javier Baez is on this roster. He won a World Series with the Cubs years ago. He only has 6 home runs this year and he played 80 games. Riley Green, I can't even tell you, I don't know who Riley Green is. I haven't watched a lot of Tigers baseball, but he's their leading hitter in virtually every statistical category. 265 average, 24 home runs, 74 RBIs, 134 hits. That's your best player on a team that's going to the playoffs. Credit to AJ Hinch, because when he was managing the Astros, I never really thought much of him in terms of X's and O's type guy. And he got fired in the aftermath of that whole cheating scandal. It obviously hadn't worked out with Detroit for a while. This team had been bottom feeders in the Central Division for a long time. But man, to go from where they were to win 30, let me get this number up again with me, 31 of their last 42, 31-11, only 11 losses in the last 2 months of the season is just ridiculous. Side note in that game, the Chicago White Sox made history with their 121st loss on the season. So a lot of AL Central stuff. And I'm actually going to transition into something because here's the thing. And I know what's going to be up for debate, and everybody's going to get caught up in the Tigers and this magical run and, AJ Hinch and there's nobody on this team. But I really hope that we don't lose sight of what the Cleveland Guardians are doing, because I just feel like everybody's focused on Yankees and Dodgers and all these big names. And the Guardians are just going by the wayside in terms of, in this division, because let's not forget, before the season, the Guardians and their, roster, they were projected to win 80 games this season, and they win this division going away pretty much wire to wire. Both these seasons are really incredible in their own right. To see the Tigers get into the playoffs with really only one big name star player in Tarek Skubal, who it was just a phenomenal pitcher and is probably the front runner to win the Cy Young. I think that, frankly, it should be Emmanuel Clase, who's doing things as a relief pitcher that haven't been done in a really long time. But it's going to be fun to, see, and depending on where the Tigers finish, there's a possibility that the Guardians and the Tigers face off in the playoffs. And I would be all for that because these two teams have not liked each other over the years. They've been division rivals for a long time. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. But it's just I would like people to understand that because of, even though this run is so magical, doesn't mean that the Tigers are the best story in baseball. Because I think that best story in baseball lies in Cleveland, Ohio, with a team that barely won 80 games. They may get the number 1 seed over the New York Yankees. They have a slim chance of doing that. They've got a bye in the first round. They've had this thing clinched up for a week. They really don't have a massive payroll to speak of. They don't have a highly paid player outside of a Jose Ramirez. And they've really pieced this together with a rookie manager who's never managed in his career. Stephen Vogt has never managed in his professional career. And he's taken this team to the playoffs as one of the best teams, not just in the American League, but in all of Major League Baseball. Let's not lose sight of how incredible the Guardian season was. Just because the Tigers did something absolutely insane in winning 31 of their last 42 games. It's just like all these stories can be amazing, but I just think that when you are consistently great, given the circumstances that what the Guardians were dealt, losing a Hall of Fame level manager like Terry Francona, who retired due to a lot of health issues. You bring in Stephen Vogt, who had no track record managing. The criticism for the hire was there. This was an underachieving team last year. They don't have very many high-priced players, and they're able to piece this together without their starting pitcher, their star starting pitcher in Shane Bieber for most of the season. And they somehow are able to get through the whole season and be one of the top teams, not just in the American League, but in the National League. So I'm just hoping, just so I point that out. And frankly, you can make the argument, like I'm sure this is going to be a discussion between Tigers and Guardians for a lot of the awards. I think Tarek Skubal and Emmanuel Clase are obviously going to be in contention for that. I would guess that based off the Tigers making the playoffs, I think Tarek Skubal is probably going to win the Cy Young. I don't agree with it because Emmanuel Clase has done something that is just downright historic. Like 18 wins and a 2.3 ERA as a starter, like that type of stuff has been done before. Emmanuel Clase is historically great, like sub 1 ERA. The guy is unbelievable. He's unhittable. Like it's almost an automatic 3 outs when you put him into the game. It is just insane, and it's really helped this Guardians team survive the fact that they don't have an A-level starting pitcher. And then to me, like if you were going to make an argument for AJ Hinch to win AL Manager of the Year, I'd be willing to hear it. I don't think you'd be able to get very far because, again, Stephen Vogt, first-time manager, gets over 90 wins, wins the American League Central, could potentially be the #1 seed in the American League, and I don't think there's any argument for me. Like, you have any argument to me about Stephen Vogt winning American League Manager of the Year. But a lot of those awards actually come out after the season, I think. So, but yeah, this would be fun to see these two square off in the playoffs. So, Tiger fans, come at me. I know a few of you in my life. So, Detroit, bring it. It's always fun when Cleveland and Detroit go at one another. It was fun when Ohio and Michigan go at one another. It seems like we're destined to fight with one another, whether it be Pistons and Cavs, whether it be, I mean, in some degree, you could say Lions and Browns. You could say Tigers and Indians or Guardians, or hell, Ohio State, Michigan. This will be a lot of fun. Depending on where the Tigers finish in the wild card standings, there's a possibility that maybe, just maybe, they could end up facing the Tigers at some point early on in the postseason, if that's the way things shake out. And I'd be all for that. That'd be a lot of fun. Two of the best stories, in my mind, in all of baseball this year. Obviously, the obvious ones was Shohei Ohtani having the historic season that he's had. But these are two of the best stories team-wise in all of baseball. So another baseball take for you. We have a lot of sports content. Obviously, football we're knee-deep in that. So we'll have that for you on here. A lot of sports entertainment content. We have the perfect blend of sports and sports entertainment content. Hit that subscribe button below the video so you can get more videos just like this one. OT Mike Sports if you want to follow me. Off the Mic 28 if you want to follow Off the Mic 28 if you want to follow me. OT Mike Sports if you want to follow the show. And thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.